my greatest fear is to like do this and then it not actually record the class, right? Like, that's what's keeping me up at night. All right, well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Emma. I am a basics teacher here at 3 Queens, and I just got my prenatal certification. So I've done 85 hours of training over the course of the past couple of months to be able to teach people like you. And we're gonna go around the room, and I'm gonna want to know what your name is, how far along if you care to share, and if there's anything going on in your body that you'd like to give a little extra TLC or you'd like to address during class. Not only as a way to like inform how I'm gonna structure the class, but also for us to build community and just to get to know one another here. So I'll start in the back over here.
My name is Lisa. I'm 17-week pregnant with identical twin.
Congratulations, twins.
I think my lower belly and also my lower back is kind of...
Low belly, low back. Yeah. When you have low back pain, is it kind of like the band of your lower back or is it one-sided?
Oh, I think just the big hand.
The band, okay, okay. So we can get into that a little bit and kind of strengthen and get into the glutes because that'll help with stabilizing the low back here. Yeah, come on in, you're more than welcome.
I always get weirded out, like, how you get in front.
No, you're totally fine. We're cozy today. All right, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm almost 28 weeks. Yay. I found exercising really difficult in this pregnancy. I was pretty active before pregnancy and not so much for the last 28 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of lower back pain, mostly on one side.
Okay.
The left side of my body's given up.
Yeah.
Is
it like kind of like a pinpoint, like?
Yeah, I
yeah.
can point right to where it is. It's
yeah.
annoying. But other than that, I just want to like move.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna place you in what I call the SI joint family. So the SI joint is like right in the back of the pelvis, and with relaxin, they tend to get really tight and achy and kind of like that pinpoint pain in the low back. So I'm gonna give you modifications throughout practice. So whenever I say if you're in the SI joint family, you're gonna do this instead, okay? So just keep an ear out for that. Welcome. All right, back here.
I'm Kelly. I'm almost 34 weeks with my first. I also had the SI. It got better. Now it's just like the belly's getting big and like some plantar fasciitis, like pain on my feet.
Okay.
When I walk.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure with like changing the shoes from like the winter shoes to the spring summer shoes doesn't help with that either too. Okay, we can get into the feet a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Suhi. Today's actually the last day of my first trimester, so I don't think I have a lot of physical stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
But
Let's try to keep it that way, right?
yeah.
Welcome, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm Rosie. I am 24 weeks. This is my second baby, and feeling good.
Good. Good is good. We'll take it. All right, right in front.
I'm Abby. Apologize for being a little late.
You're totally fine.
It was like, this is my second baby and a little bit of a surprise baby. We did not think we were able to conceive. And then,
Here you go.
thank you.
Yep.
Feeling great compared to my first pregnancy. Able to do more things. But now
Great.
how many weeks am I? 17? I'm trying not to count because again, it still doesn't feel real. But
For
now
sure.
that I've made it into the second trimester, I'm getting some of the, like, oh yes, constipation, round ligament pain. And I was like, lovely. And just
Yeah.
those little, minor discomforts.
For sure.
But yeah, definitely just like struggling with it. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I need to move. Like,
Yeah.
because laying in, like, I'm like, this hurts. Like, just
Yeah.
this isn't helping. Like, I
Yeah.
need to, especially with the joint pain stuff, like, it just gets stuck.
For sure.
I was
For sure.
running a little bit, and I have decided my boobs are too big for that. I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, running.
I don't know, like, anymore. There's
Yeah.
just too much jiggling. And so
Running
I'm
can be
looking
really
for other
hard.
things
Yeah,
that are less pounding on the jiggling.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Hope you find that here.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I'm like, blood needs to flow, and
Yeah.
we don't need to be jiggling so much. But
Yeah. We'll focus a lot
that was a long
on.
answer.
No,
I'm doing
that's
great.
good.
But, like,
I'm
it's
glad
so
you're
funny
doing
how I'm
great.
like, yes.
And that's the whole point of this community time, just be
Yeah.
like, oh, like validation of how I'm feeling and what's happening in my body and even mentally what's going on. Like there's so much happening. And it's just to hear it from other people in this space can be really reaffirming to a lot of us. So welcome.
You're not crazy. It's like,
No, you are not
yes.
crazy.
Oh, I can't breathe when I'm going up the steps anymore. Like, oh.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, go ahead.
I'm Hannah. I'm 31 weeks with my first. And generally I feel great, although yesterday I spent about 4 hours on the pottery wheel, and today my back is hurting.
Okay.
I do pottery too. It does do that.
Yeah.
It's getting increasingly more difficult thematically.
Yeah, so that's a lot of like hunched over action. Yeah, so we'll do some heart openers and kind of get into that counteraction to a lot of that hunching. And yeah, that should feel nice, hopefully.
Thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Emily, she, her, not pregnant, I'm observing. I'm a doula, yoga teacher, and assistant for the prenatal classes here, so very excited to be here for this.
Yeah, thanks for being here. All right, last but not least.
I'm Anastasia. I'm 32 weeks. I feel pretty good. Like things are getting a little more difficult and like a little more uncomfy, but I think that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, that's just the reality is your body's changing and you're making space for another human being, right? And so we're going to work with what the challenges are and what is happening in a way that we can still honor and like be with your body in the moment, right? So there might not be things that you can do that you were able to do pre-pregnancy or whatever else. It's just about making sure that we can just like honor what you're able to do here and now in this space, wherever you're at in your pregnancy. Okay? All right, we are going to start in a restorative posture today to begin the practice. So you're gonna find one block and place it towards the back of your mat on its highest height, and then one block on its lowest height. So it's kind of like a tilted over L. And you're gonna find your bolster and place it up on the blocks at a diagonal. And have your blanket close by. You might want to unravel it a little bit so that it's kind of like this long length. And then roll it up into a really long burrito. And for my SI family people, I'm going to give you an alternative to what I'm about to show. So stay tuned. If you are in your birth window, or last trimester, you're going to come to side lying, which I'm going to show in just a second. So the rest of us, come along with me. You're going to bring your sacrum right up against the bolster. So that base of your spine is right kissing the bolster there. And then find your blanket, loop it around your feet, make an X across the back of your ankles. And then you're going to use your hands to slowly lower yourself down. So you're not jackknifing to come down onto the bolster. Opening the knees, letting the blanket support your ankles as you come into Supta Baddha Konasana. If you have SI or SPD, which is like pubic bone pain, you're gonna bring the blanket right underneath your big toe ball mounds. And same thing, walk yourself back and knock your knees in towards one another, or you can extend your legs long. Okay, either works. And for my last trimester friends, you're gonna roll onto your left side and bring your blocks onto your right side of your mat with your bolster kind of at a diagonal here. Coming onto your left side, shifting yourself over so that you can bring your right leg on top of the bolster, okay? And come to side lying and really rolling in towards your belly so that you're not just on like the bone of your outer hip, okay? And feel free to give me a wave. Here, I'm gonna have you go the opposite way. Yeah, there you go. Boom, there you go. And as you come to I'm gonna shift your blocks just the opposite way here. You're good. There you go. How's that feel? Good. If you're sideline, you can roll towards your belly a little bit so you're not right on that outer hip bone, your femur. And wherever you're at, take a moment to soften your gaze and allow yourself to arrive here and now in this space. Let your breath be soft. Let your eyes be soft. And as you bring awareness to your breath, allow yourself to be present, compassionately present here and now with your breath, with your baby. And bringing some awareness to the brow, the furrow of your brow, and release that space in between your eyebrows. Release your jaw. And soften your shoulders. Allow gravity to open through your chest. As you bring awareness down to your hips. And soften here. Allowing the support of the bolster of the earth to hold you up. And then bring awareness down your legs, your thighs, your glutes, and soften as you go. All the way down to your ankles, to your feet. As you allow yourself to feel heavier and grounded into the earth beneath you. There's nowhere else to be but here and now with your breath. And as you allow your breath to deepen, notice how that deepens your connection to your body, to your baby, to your mind. And slowly start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Tilt your head from one side and to the other. Just bringing some awareness back, some gentle movement. And for those of you that have your knees wide, bring your hands to your outer thighs and close the knees back in towards one another. And without jackknifing up, roll onto your favorite side. We're all going to make our way towards a seat sitting on the bolster. So as you come to a seat on your bolster, nice and slow, take a moment to arrive here. And you know, one of the things I was thinking about in preparation for this practice is just like how fleeting time can be, especially now, especially if you're pregnant, like sometimes you want, especially like there are certain times in pregnancy, like you want it to go by quickly. And then there's moments where it's like, oh, I just want to hold on to this a little bit longer. And so it's always this reminder of like what compassionate presence means in the body and in the mind as you move through your pregnancy, as you move through life, right? And so I was like doing all these crazy things. The past couple months I was doing 2 different yoga trainings. I was helping my sister plan a wedding and do all and like I've realized I was just like trying to get to the next thing over and over and over again. And I realized that it wasn't really serving me at all to just be like checking off boxes and be like, all right, now this is done. And I really wasn't able to enjoy some of the process of it because I was just so consumed by like how much else was left to do. And I think that whether you're pregnant or not is kind of reminiscent of how life can be, just trying to like get through all of the things in the day, in the week. And so really what we're gonna work through in this practice is like being able to step back and be present in those moments, maybe some moments that are a little bit more uncomfortable. How does it feel to stay present through that? Because that's prepping us for a lot of, the birthing process, the labor process, the process of being pregnant and beyond. And then also the compassionate presence of like giving yourself the space and the rest when you need it. Then you don't have to earn that rest, right? So as we move today, we're really going to lean into a little bit of challenge, then also lean into those spaces where we can allow for some rest and really invite the rest through the practice. So with that being said, as you come onto your bolster, I invite you to just wrap your thighs forward a little bit to help ground down through your sit bones, even more onto the bolster. And then bring your hands to your rib cage with your forefingers pointed forward and your thumbs pointed back. And then just with your eyes softly closed or softly open, start to take some deep breaths here. Noticing how as you inhale, the rib cage expands, and as you exhale, you soften. This is called our 360 breath. And by using the hands wrapped around the rib cage, you can feel the capacity of your breath in the sides of your body, the back of your ribs. And notice how receptive your body is to your breath. Then go ahead and release the hands. Bring one hand to your baby, one hand to your heart. As you continue with that deep belly breathing, that 360 breath in all directions, taking a moment to honor all that you are, all that you will be, and finding that compassionate presence with your breath here. And at the bottom of your exhale, go ahead and release the hands, bring them down to your thighs. Then just start to take a little bit of some shoulder rolls here, up and back, bringing some movement, some awareness into the shoulders. And then go ahead and bring your right hand out to the side with your palm facing forward, and your left hand above your right ear. And as you exhale, drop your left ear towards your left shoulder for a neck stretch. You don't really need to pull or tug on the head at all. The gravity will do the work for you. And just allow your breath to be full here. Then start to peek your gaze towards what would be like a pocket square on the front of your shirt, and bring your left hand towards the back of your right side of your head, to look in towards that pocket square and get into the back of the neck. And then as you inhale, release the arm, reach it overhead, Lower it down with your exhale, and then inhale, reach your right fingertips high and come into a crescent stretch, grounding down through your sit bones as you reach your heart forward and up. There's some muscles in between the ribs here called your intercostals. By breathing into this space between the ribs, it helps make space for your breath. And then inhale to rise up and shake it out. Just take a minute to notice what a difference may have made side to side. Then we'll go ahead and do the other side. So left hand comes out, palm facing forward. Your right hand comes above the left ear, and then drop your right ear to right shoulder. Notice if either shoulder is kind of hiking up, try to relax those shoulders down. And then take a peek towards that pocket square, bringing some more awareness to the back of the neck, the trapezius muscles, where a lot of us hold the weight of the world here. And then as you exhale, release your arm. Inhale, reach your opposite arm overhead, grounding down through the sit bones to reach up through the crown of the head. You might keep your gaze forward, or if the neck permits, you might look up towards your fingers. And then inhale to rise up. Exhale to release. All right, from here, we're going to shift forward to come into a tabletop position. So go ahead and move that bolster out of the way. You can use a blanket to pad your knees if and as you need to here. And as you come into your tabletop, have your pointer fingers pointed straight ahead, your knees right underneath your hips, hips width distance apart. And then as you inhale, instead of just dropping your belly towards the earth, I want you to think about spreading the collarbones and reaching your heart forward as you lift your gaze and come into cow. And then as you exhale, press down through your palms, round your back and drop your tailbone to come into cat. And take a few rounds of those on your own, nice and slow. Feel free to take any organic movements like hip circles, stretching back towards puppy or child's pose. Just moving in ways that feel meaningful, that help you connect with your breath. Then the next time that you come into a neutral spine in your tabletop position, pause there. Walk your hands about 1 or 2 handprints out in front of you and walk your knees back, about a knee print. And then as you exhale, shift your hips back to come into puppy pose or quarter dog. You're more or less keeping your hips stacked over your knees here, kind of in like a tabletop position. And then keeping your arms in like downward facing dog arms. So your forehead might come down to the mat. It might hover. You might even bring a block underneath your forehead to have something to press into. And as you press down into your palms, lift your biceps by the ears. And just know that if at any point downward facing dog doesn't feel great in your body for any reason, know that you can come to puppy as an alternative. With your next inhale, shift your weight back forward. Find one of your blocks and place your block in between your thighs, closer to your knees on its narrowest height. And then tuck the toes, walk the hands forward about a handprint. Again, you can do puppy pose here if you'd like to keep the knees down, or you can tuck the toes, lift the knees, and shift your hips up and back to come to your first downward facing dog. You can keep a bend in the knees here as you squeeze the block. Squeezing that block helps to awaken the inner thighs, the outer glutes. And keep that as you lift the hips high to the sky, grounding down through your palms and your feet to lift your hips. And then maybe as you exhale, your heels start to drop towards the mat. Maybe. With your exhale, go ahead and lower your knees down. Remove the block out from under you. And bring blocks underneath your hands on their highest height. From here, step your left foot forward, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. And then in order to spring forward, we're going to lengthen the front leg and bend the back knee, and then spring off of the back foot to come into a forward. With hands on blocks, feet are hips width distance apart, toes pointed straight ahead. As you inhale, press down into the blocks to halfway lift, reaching your sit bones back and your crown of your head forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift with your breath, not my voice. Exhale to fold. From here, bring your hands up onto your thighs. Bring your shoulder blades up and back and come to a standing cat-cow. So as you inhale, heart forward. Exhale to round the back. Follow that through 2 more times, nice and slow, lifting the tailbone as you cow, rounding the back as you cat. And then come back into a neutral spine and press into your heels to rise all the way up to a stand. And then as you come to your stand, inhale, reach the arms up overhead, ground down through the heels as you reach up past your fingertips. Exhale, cactus the arms to come into a standing cobra, shoulders up and back. Inhale to lift. Exhale for cactus. 1 more time. And then from here, bring your hands down to your thighs, bend your knees. Hands come to blocks. Have your right foot forward and step your left foot back to come into a high lunge. Your hands can be framing your front foot and have your feet baby width distance apart. So give yourself a nice amount of space here so you can feel steady and stable. As you inhale, press down into your right heel to lengthen the leg. Exhale to bend through the front knee. Follow that through with your breath, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to bend. 1 more time. And then the next time that you bend into your front knee, pause there, lower your back knee down and bring your blocks inside of the right foot, coming into a low lunge. Again, patting this back knee as needed. As you drag your back knee forward and front foot back, this helps to square the hips, helps you to lift a little bit too, so that maybe you bring your hands to your thighs. And once you're up here, notice if you have a tendency to like pop the booty out or to like kind of clench the booty in, and try to find that neutral place where you're dropping your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone. You might even bring one hand to your pubic bone, one hand to your tailbone, and find that lifting of the pubic bone, dropping of the tailbone. And once you find that, keeping your right hand on your thigh, inhale, reach left fingertips overhead. As you exhale, lean over to the right, coming into that crescent stretch. Shoulders up and back. Keep dragging your back knee forward and your front foot back to stay stable. And then inhale to rise up. Exhale, hands come down to blocks. And then heel toe, your right foot over to the right off of your mat to come into like a 90-degree bend in your knee. Yeah. And then from here, you're just going to start to find a little bit of rocking to the side, coming into this asymmetrical lunge. You might even start to find some hip circles, forward and back. This asymmetrical position in the pelvis is really great to open up your mid-pelvis, which is like during active labor, like this helps to rotate the baby. So this is, if you're doing an unmedicated birth, this is a great birthing position to work through. There's other ways you can do it if you're having a medicated birth as well, to find that rotation. And go ahead and walk that foot back over. And you can have your blocks inside of the front foot or on either side of the front foot. You're going to start to shift your hips back towards your right heel and lift your toes to come into a half split. Yeah. Coming into your half split, shoulders up and back. Lifting the toes and noticing, having like some presence and a little bit of compassion here. Like this can be sticky for a lot of us. Notice what's showing up where. And you can stay right here in this hamstring stretch, or you can start to tilt your pinky edge of your foot towards the floor to get more towards the outer hamstring. Or, I don't think we have any pubic pain here, so if you do, you can stay where you're at. The rest of us, maybe we bring the heel crossing the body over towards the left side of the mat. This will get more into the IT band and outer hip. Yeah, that's the good stuff, right? Good stuff, question mark? Tacking that right hip back and down, breathing fully and deeply here. Ugh, yeah. Go ahead and bring that leg back through center, bend through your front knee, come into your low lunge. And then from here, you're gonna bring your right knee back to meet the left, coming into your tabletop, blocks off to the side, and take a few hip circles here, noticing what a difference may have made side to side. And then as you come back into your tabletop position, you're going to bring your hands back up onto blocks on their highest height. And then bring your knees wide and toes to touch. And we're going to try to keep this tailbone dropping here as you start to shift your weight back towards your heels. And inhale to come back up. Keep trying to drop the tail here, shifting back and coming up. So this external rotation helps to open the inlet of your pelvis. This is great for early labor when the baby is starting to descend into the pelvis. This helps to open that inlet to get the baby moving down. And then bring your knees back in towards neutral tabletop position, and then kick your heels out so that you're in internal rotation. And then same thing, you won't be able to go as far, but you're going to try to keep the tailbone lifting here as you shift your hips back and then back forward. This one's getting into the outlet of the pelvis. So as baby is about to come earth side, this helps to widen the opening of your pelvis, the outlet. We don't do a lot of internal rotation in yoga classes in general, so this for a lot, or life in general, so this can feel tight for a lot of us. We don't have as much mobility here. Then go ahead and come back into your tabletop. You can bring a block in between your thighs, closer to your knees than to your crotch. Walk your hands about a handprint forward, tuck the toes. You can stay here and walk yourself into your puppy dog, or lift your hips up and back to come into your downward facing dog. Squeezing the block in between your thighs as you lift the hips. Taking a full round of breath here. And then from here, lower your knees down onto the mat. You can stay in your tabletop with that hugging of the block in between your thighs, or you can shift your shoulders forward, hug the block as you bend your elbows through a half chaturanga, lowering yourself halfway down, pressing yourself back up. Nice, good job. Remove the block out from underneath you, bring blocks underneath your hands, and this time, you're gonna step your right foot forward, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, coming into that high lunge on the second side. As you inhale, press into the front heel to lengthen the leg, and exhale to descend. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to descend. Do one more here. And then the next time that you descend through the front thigh, lower the back knee down, coming into that low lunge. Dragging the back knee forward, hugging the back foot back, and then slowly coming up onto that front thigh, dropping your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone. And then as you feel steady, reach your left or your right fingertips up and overhead, and exhale to tilt over to the left. We did this side already? Darn. All right, go ahead and lower the hands down. Come back into your table, and we'll do the actual second side. So go ahead and step that other side. Is it left foot forward? Yeah, amazing. Thanks, guys. Yeah, right. That'd be great. Thank you for that. Dragging your back knee forward, front foot back, and then go ahead and untuck the back toe, or tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and we'll start with that lengthening and descending through the front thigh, second side. Oh yeah, you can tell. You're like, oh yeah, this is the second side. Then go ahead and lower the back knee down this time, dragging the back knee forward, front foot back. Walk your hands up to the front thigh. And then from here, as you feel stable, this time reach right fingertips overhead. I have that right this time, right? Cool, good. We're all on the correct side now. Exhale to tilt over to the left. Dropping your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone. And then inhale to rise back up. Hands come down onto blocks. And then you're going to start to bring that foot over off of the mat, come into that 90-degree bend in the knee. And then start to find that rocking action forward and back, getting into that mid-pelvis asymmetrical rocking. You can start to bring some hip circles into the mix if and as you like. This is also a really great pose to help to lengthen the pelvic floor side to side. So you might find that one side feels a little bit tighter than the other. And it's just good to notice and to be aware of. We lost the music too. I'll get that back. Go ahead and heel toe that foot back over to center. And then shift your hips back to come into your half split here. Lifting the toes, lengthening the leg. And you can stay here in your half split, or you can roll onto the outer edge, towards the outer edge of your foot to come into that outer hamstring. And these are like 3 different stretches, so you can kind of choose your own adventure and decide what's best for you here. You can stay with the hamstring stretch, you can go more into that outer hamstring, or you can cross the body and get into that IT band. Doing what's best for you here, being so compassionate, being here with your breath and present. And then slowly bring your heel back through center. Walk the back knee forward, coming into your low lunge. Tuck the back toes, lift your back knee, and then step your foot forward to come into your forward fold. Bring one of your blocks in between your feet on its on its longest width, and one block in between your thighs on its narrowest width? Yeah, that's it. And then shoulders up and back. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead to come into chair pose. Yeah, squeezing the blocks in between your feet and your thighs to wake up the inner thighs, the outer glutes. Drop your tailbone, lift your pubic bone, and sit a little deeper. Inhale to rise up. Lower the hands down. Take one of your blocks and place it off to the side. Take the other block and place it down. Bring your hands back up onto your thighs, shoulders up and back. And inhale to lift into your cow. Exhale to round. And then with your next exhale, bring your hands back down to blocks. Have your right foot forward, step your left foot back, coming into your high lunge once again. Right foot forward, left foot back. Spin your back heel down so that it's parallel with the short edge of your mat. And then windmill your arms up to a T to come into warrior two. As you bend through your front knees, shoulder blades up and back. Reach back with your left fingertips to descend through the front thigh. As you inhale, flip your right palm and exhale to reverse your warrior. You can bring your left hand down your thigh or hook behind your back. And then inhale to come back up through warrior two. Exhale, bring your right forearm down to right thigh and reach fingertips up and overhead to come into extended side angle. And once you're in your extended side angle, shoulder blades are up and back. As you inhale, I want you to draw your shoulder and your elbow back like in that cobra arm. And exhale to reach it forward. Inhaling for that cobra arm, shoulders up and back. Exhale to reach it forward. One more time. And then go ahead and bring your hands down to blocks. Walk your blocks over towards the right side of your mat. Turn your right toes over to come into a wide-legged forward fold. Left side of your mat. As you come into your wide-legged forward fold, grounding down through the heels, folding into the self. You can remove the blocks out from you completely. You can use them. As you shift your hips back and fold, leading with the heart. And then as you inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands onto blocks on their highest height. And start to walk your blocks forward like you're in downward facing dog with your arms. And shift your hips back and up, lifting your tailbone to come into like this funky, wide-legged forward fold down dog action. Grounding down through the heels, lifting your tailbone. And as you press down into the blocks with your hands, feel the back body fire up here. Then slowly walk the blocks back in. And with the blocks right underneath your shoulders this time, you're going to bend into your right knee into like a lateral lunge. Inhale to come through center. Exhale, bend into the left knee. Come through center. We'll do that one more time each side, nice and slow. Trying to reach those sit bones back, heart forward. And then once you come back through center, walk your blocks back towards your front foot. Coming into that high lunge, lower your back knee down, and then bring your right knee back to meet the left. This time, bring your knees wide, toes touch. Sit your butt back towards your heels to come into child's pose. And if your baby's taking up a lot of real estate, you can always bring a block underneath your head to bring the floor a little bit closer to you. And then slowly rise back up. You can stay here in your tabletop taking a few cat-cows, or to come into that down dog, bring a block back between your thighs. Walk the hands about a handprint forward, tuck the toes, and lift your knees to come into down dog. Take whichever variation is compassionate for yourself and what you need here and now. Taking what you need, leaving what you don't. And then go ahead and lower the knees. If you've got the block between the thighs, maybe you shift your weight forward, take that half chaturanga push-up, and press it back up. Nice work. Remove the block out from under you. Bring those blocks back between the hands, or underneath the hands. And then step your left foot forward. Second side, right? Yeah. All right, we're good. We got it this time. Tuck the back toes. lift the back knee. And then you're gonna bring that right sole of your foot down onto the earth so that the blade edge of your foot is parallel with the back of the mat. Inhale your arms up to a T for warrior two. Shoulder blades up and back. As you come into your warrior two, you want to make sure your front toes are pointed straight ahead and your knee is tracking over the second and third toe. So the action is pressing the knee out, sweeping the heel in. And then as you inhale, flip the palm. Exhale to reverse your warrior. Inhale to rise back up. Exhale to come into that extended side angle. Left forearm by the left thigh. Shoulders up and back. And then as you inhale, draw the shoulder, draw the elbow back into that cobra arm. And exhale to reach it forward. Following your breath 2 more times. Shoulder up and back, and then reaching it forward. Then bring your hands down to blocks. Walk your blocks back towards a wide-legged forward fold on the left side of your mat this time, right side of the mat this time. Yeah. Coming into that wide-legged forward fold stance. And then same thing, start to walk the blocks forward, coming into those long arms. You can keep a nice bend in the knees here, if and as you like, as you lift the sit bones and press down into the blocks with your hands to create length and engagement through your back body. And then as you exhale, walk the blocks back in. And we're going to find that lateral lunge side to side. It doesn't matter which side you start with. As you exhale, shift to one side, inhaling back through center, exhaling to shift to the other. We'll do it one more time each side. And then once you come back through center, walk your blocks back towards your front foot. Coming back into that high lunge, start to lengthen your left leg as you bend your right knee and then spring forward, coming into your standing tall forward fold. In your forward fold, inhale to halfway lift, exhale to fold. As you inhale, bring your hands to your thighs and rise all the way to stand in your Tadasana. Whew. Taking a moment here, some shoulder rolls. Maybe you're taking some hip circles side to side or figure eights. Just to find a little bit of grounding here at the top of your mat. And go ahead and bring your hands back down to your thighs and then to your blocks. You're going to bring your right hand onto the block, and then your left hand, you're going to move the block onto its lowest height. And then bring your left big toe ball mound up onto the block. Kind of like you're stepping onto a gas pedal here. So the toes are above the block. They're kind of wiggling here so that that meaty part of the base of your foot is on the edge of the block to get into a calf stretch. And as you tack your left hip back, you can breathe fully and deeply here. And you might stay right here, or you might shift your weight forward a little bit, like you're peering over the edge of a pool to get a little bit more into that calf. And this should help a little bit with some of that plantar fasciitis type stuff that we're dealing with too. Then go ahead and release, and we'll switch sides. Just go ahead and move the blocks over. Bring the big toe ball mound of your right foot up onto the block. And then shift your weight forward, gaze forward. Breathing fully and deeply here. And as you exhale, release. Bring both hands on your blocks on their highest height. Have your right foot forward and step your left foot back. This time we're gonna pivot over towards the left side of the mat right away, coming into that wide-legged forward fold. And have your feet parallel here. And your blocks are right underneath your shoulders. Start to bend into your right knee. Then walk your blocks forward into like that wide-legged down dog action. Keep your right hip tacking back, and then walk your blocks over towards the left to get in kind of like a crescent stretch with the lateral lunge. We're getting into the QL, which is a muscle that is on like both sides of the spine here. It gets really, really tight during pregnancy. And then inhale, press yourself back through center, walk your blocks through center. Any questions on that? Are we feeling that in the mid-low back region? Yeah, cool. Bend into your opposite knee, walk the blocks forward, and then walk the blocks over to the left or the right this time. Tacking the hip crease back, lifting the tailbone as you press down into the blocks and breathe into the upper back, the back ribs. And then inhale, slowly come back through center. And exhale to fold, just a nice neutral forward fold in the middle. You can have hands on blocks. You can remove the blocks completely if and as you like. And then bring your hands back up on the blocks. Walk the blocks back towards your front foot, passing through that high lunge. Lower your back knee down and step your right knee back to meet the left. Blocks off to the side. Again, you've got options here. You can come into your child's pose, or you can bring the block back between your thighs, tuck the toes, and shift your hips up and back to come into a down dog. Taking what you need here and now. If you're in your down dog, you're lifting your hips high. And exhale to lower your knees wherever you're at. And coming back into your tabletop this time. With your knees apart, block out from underneath the thighs if you have it there still. You're going to start to walk your hands back with your toes tucked and sit back onto your heels into what I like to call screaming toes. Yeah. So this can feel really intense for a lot of people. So if it's too intense, you know you can always come out of it and take a few breaths to breathe and then sit back and down. All right? Take whatever feels best for you here. This helps to stretch out that bottom of your foot, to find space between the toes. And go ahead and walk your hands forward. Bring your hands underneath blocks. And this time you're going to step your left foot forward, coming into that low lunge, second side. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and walk your blocks over to the right side of your mat this time. This time, bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees, and rise all the way to stand. You're going to turn your toes out, heels in, to come into a goddess pose setup. So for my SI friends, you don't have to go as deep into this. You can also take a shorter stance. That'll help create a little bit more space for you here. So once you're here, you want to make sure that your knees are more or less going to track over the second and third toe. So as you sit your butt back and down, drop your tailbone, lift your pubic bone. And then bring the backs of your hands to your inner thighs. And feel what it's like to press your hands into your thighs, thighs into hands. Drop the tailbone, lift the pubic bone. And then with your inhale, press down into your heels to lengthen the legs, reach your fingertips up to the sky. And then exhale, bring your arms into cactus, shoulders up and back as you sit your butt back and down, back into goddess. Yeah, nice. Dropping your tailbone, lifting your pubic bone. And then inhale, press it up, rise up, Exhale, hands to heart center. Nice work. Bend your knees and bring your hands to your thighs, hands to blocks. Walk the blocks back towards your front foot. And then lower your back knee down. Bring your other knee to meet it. And just take a few cat-cows here, breathing fully and deeply. Once you're here in this tabletop position, just taking a few breaths. Maybe you want to come into your child's pose, bringing your knees wide, toes to touch once again. Just finding those places that feel nourishing, that help you fill up your own cup. And then slowly make your way to a seat with coming up onto your bolster. So come back to your bolster, to your seat. And you're gonna have your feet out in front of you with your knees bent, feet on the floor here, and your arms back behind you. As you exhale, shift your knees over to the right. And then inhale to bring your knees through center. Exhale, both knees fall over to the left. And just take a nice windshield wiper side to side on your own. And once you come through center, go ahead and bring the legs long. Maybe give yourself some ankle circles, flexing the feet, maybe shaking it out a little bit. Maybe feel what it's like to just give yourself a little jiggle of the thighs. It can always help to be good to release tension, especially after contractions. And during contractions too, just releasing any tension. And from here, you're gonna bring your right ankle across the left thigh. And you can stay right here in this figure 4 position, or you can slide your left foot back and come into a seated pigeon. Shoulders up and back. You're more than welcome to stay here in the seated pigeon, or start to heel toe your foot over to the right side, and maybe start to come towards fire log or double pigeon. So it's ankle to knee. So this top knee is coming close to the ankle, and if it's got a little ways to go, you can bring a block underneath to find that stability here. This is a really great stretch for any SI pain, kind of getting into that outer hip piriformis area. And you're taking whatever variation of this. Also, block can be underneath the bottom knee too. Can help ground down through the sit bones as you reach up through the crown of the head. Yeah, nice. And then go ahead and release. Bringing the legs long, shake it out. Any questions before we do the second side? Cool, all right. Let's do it then. So go ahead and bring the left ankle across the right thigh. Again, you can stay right here. There's plenty to do right here and now. Or you can slide the foot back to come into your figure 4. Or you can heel toe the foot over, making your way into that double pigeon ankle to knee pose. Again, one side might be different than the other, so really use your props as support here. That's one thing also that we learn as we to take on too much is support's a really good thing for us sometimes. So taking what you need here. Grounding down through the sit bones, reaching up through the crown of the head. And yeah, you can stay upright, you might fold forward a little bit. Whatever feels best in your body. And then slowly start to rise back up. Go ahead and shake the legs out. Whew. Then come to a seat. We're going to take a couple of rotations here in the shoulders, up and back. Then as you exhale, you're going to start to twist to the left. And you're going to think about your twisting just from up of the bra strap, above the bra strap. So the baby stays pointed forward. Just from the bra strap and above, you're twisting to the left. Shoulders up and back, baby pointing forward. And then inhale to come through center. And then exhale to the other side, baby pointing forward, twisting just from that upper back. And then inhale to come through center. And find your blocks. You're going to roll onto your table, put the bolster off to the side. Find your blocks and place them on their lowest height, stacked on top of one another. And then you're going to back yourself up from your table, whoop, so that the blocks are right in between your feet. And you're going to kick the feet out like that internal rotation that we did earlier in class. And then sit your butt back onto the bolsters, or onto the blocks to come into Virasana. Awesome. And use your hands to kind of move that buttocks flesh off to the side so that you can really ground down through your sit bones here on the blocks. We're going to get into a little bit of transverse abdominal work. So the TA muscles are like the deepest core muscles of your core, and they act as kind of a natural corset in your body. And they come into play when you're in labor. And whether you have a medicated or an unmedicated birth, the TA muscles, it's almost like muscle memory. Even if you can't feel them, they will engage to help with pushing the baby out. And so they're really important to learn how to engage now so they can be useful then. And whether you have a vaginal birth or a C-section, these transverse abdominal muscles, engaging them can help with postpartum healing as well, that wrapping forward. So before we get into the transverse abdominals themselves, we're going to come back to that 360 breath that we did at the beginning of class. So you're going to bring your hands to your rib cage, wrapping your fingers forward and your thumbs back. Just finding that deep belly breath here. And then if you are, nobody's breech or previa, right? No? Okay. If you were to be breech or previa, you would just stay with this 360 breath. The rest of us, with the next inhale, you can keep your hands by your rib cage. It can kind of help with this action of feeling the rib cage and the TAs wrapping forward, or you can bring your hands down to your thighs. As you inhale, take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale for a count of 8 with a as your exhale for 8. Feeling the TAs engage forward and down. And then inhale for a full breath in. And exhale for a full breath out, natural breath. With your next inhale, take a nice deep breath in. And this time with the count of 8, like you're blowing up a balloon. Feeling the engagement as you blow all the air out. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. We'll do one more. Whichever version felt better for you. Blowing out through the balloon or fogging the mirror. Good. All right. Now we're going to come into a supported Malasana squat. So you're just going to bring your knees forward, your feet forward. So that your knees are wide, feet are more or less parallel. And you're finding your sit bones kind of grounding right into the blocks here. And we're going to get into a little bit of pelvic floor work here. So the pelvic floor is like a group of muscles that kind of are in a diamond shape at the base of your pelvis, right? They connect at your pubic bone, your 2 sit bones, which you can kind of feel on the blocks right now, and your sacrum. And these muscles are really important for holding up and supporting your pelvic organs and your baby. And it's also really important that we can release them in order to be able to give birth, right? And so being able to release and to engage, finding both of those actions are really important for supporting you as you continue to grow a baby and as you give birth. So if you are in your 36-week plus window, you're just going to stay with your breathing fully and deeply. You're not really going to tone or engage anything here, but we're all just going to start with just your natural breath. Your pelvic floor releases with every inhale. It kind of works with your diaphragm. So as you inhale, you'll feel your diaphragm lengthen and go down, and your pelvic floor releases, expands, yields towards the blocks. And then as you inhale, it rebounds back up to a neutral position. We're not engaging anything here, we're just feeling the inhale of the expansion, the release, the yielding, and the exhaling of the returning to neutral. Okay, if you are in your birth window, or if you've been told by a physical therapist that you have a hypertonic pelvic floor, which means like a tight pelvic floor, if you are constipated, or constipated before pregnancy, we should say, have trouble feeling like you're like emptying your bladder completely, pain with penetration, those are all signs that you might have a little bit of a tighter pelvic floor and you don't need any more toning. So you're just going to stay with feeling this action of inhaling to release and exhaling to come back to neutral, okay? For those of you that want to work on a little bit of toning, as you inhale, feeling that yield of the pelvic floor, with your exhale, you're going to pretend like you're trying to lift a blueberry up your vaginal canal to engage that diamond structure of the pelvic floor. And then inhale to release. And then exhale to engage, draw up. We'll do that 2 more times with your own breath. And then go ahead and release. Nice work. All right, this is one of those ultimate, like, I can't see it, only you can feel it type of situation. So if it feels like it was like over your head, it just takes work. It's a muscle that needs to be trained, right? So just continue to work at it. And if you have any questions, we can talk more after class. All right, we're gonna set up for restorative once again. So again, if you were in that sideline position in your birth window, the last trimester, etc., even if you feel like sideline might feel better at the end of the class, you're more than welcome to come into it. The rest of you will set up in your Supta Baddha Konasana once again with that L shape of the blocks, propping yourself up onto your bolster. And finding your blanket, rolling it up like a burrito to support your ankles once again. If you're doing side lying, you have 1 block on its lowest height, 1 block on its medium height. So that you're kind of finding that internal rotation. So your ankle comes a little bit higher than your knee in your side lying. And just slowly lower yourself down. I'll come and help out. So help you find your comfortable positions here. Nice. Nice. Here, I'm gonna shift this so that you have a little bit more stability back here.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so that should be good. If anybody needs any help or wants any adjustments, let me know. And yeah, good. For SI, having the knees knocking in. And if you're side lying, rolling towards your baby belly just a little bit so you can roll off of that femur bone that tends to get sore if you're on your side. Just breathing fully and deeply. Got it, Whitney. Good, okay, good. allowing yourself to become as comfortable as humanly possible here. Let your breath be soft. Let your eyes be soft. Allowing yourself to be present here and now with your breath, with your baby, and cherishing these moments of stillness. Allowing yourself to be held by the earth. And what does it feel like to receive the support instead of just giving support? Allow yourself to become nourished, supported by the earth, by your breath, and by this space. And just notice the places in your own life where you constantly are pouring outward. And imagine pouring back into yourself. Imagine not having to prove or fix or perfect anything or even to carry everything on your own. And through this process of continuing to become more present, more aware, is this willingness and ability to stay awake to loving presence with yourself, with your baby, with your loved ones. Imagine that. And take a slow, deep inhale in. And exhale to let it go. Take another deep breath in and down. Let it fill you up completely. And then exhale to let it all go. And slowly start to awaken the body in the way that feels sweet and gentle, like wiggling your toes, your fingers. Maybe you're tilting your head from one side and to the other. And if you're in your Supta Baddha Konasana, I invite you to bring your hands to the outsides of your thighs to close those thighs back together. And instead of jackknifing up, just roll towards the side. Use your hands as support as you make your way towards a seat. If you're side lying, just slowly press your way up towards a comfortable seat. Take your time here. Maybe you're sitting back up on a bolster or a blanket to give yourself some extra support. As you come to your seat, take a moment to notice what a difference may have made from the start of this class. Allowing yourself to be present and compassionate towards yourself, towards those around you. The more that you fill up your own cup, the more you can fill the cups of others around you. I invite you to bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your baby. As you take a nice deep inhale in, and an exhale to let it all go. So 2 more just like that. And gently bow your head towards your heart, taking this moment to honor all that you are, all that you have been, and all that you are going to be. Cherishing these moments as they are. And then slowly start to lower your hands, blink open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Happy Mother's Day. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, conundrums, please, please, please don't hesitate to talk to me or ask any questions. You can find Emily here with Alyssa on Sundays. Sundays downstairs at 9:30. Wednesdays here at 5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, for prenatal classes. I might bop in a little bit every once in a while too. And then I teach basics here on Thursday nights at 6:30. So if prenatal classes don't work for your schedule here, I can sneak in a prenatal class without anybody ever noticing it in a basics class. So you're more than welcome to show up in my class too on Thursday nights. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for helping me get my certification and being in the space together. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.